All right, looks like we're live. I wanted to do a live stream where I work on a video that I'm actually building for one of the components in Quasar's library. So I'm currently working on building a video for the QCarousel component. Just to give you an idea, in fact, let me just bring up my file browser. We'll jump into here. This is going to be a pretty loose stream, pretty much just me working on this video. But if we go into the component series, yeah, so I'm working on every single component. I think there's somewhere around like 80 to 100 of them or something like that. So this is going to take a while. And the one I'm currently working on is the carousel component. And yeah, I just thought I'd stream the whole thing because why not? I figured it can't help. If people don't like this kind of stuff and they find it boring, that's totally fine. But for those of you that might want to do videos, I can sort of show a little bit more of my process. And you can see, by the way, just how much I do edit and how much space I do give myself when I'm recording and the process I go through for setting up these videos so that when I actually do the recording, it's going to be quite punchy. All right, so look at this. I've already screwed things up because you can't even see my screen that I'm sharing. I need to set that up. Oh, goodness. Talk about being unorganized. Doesn't matter. That's the point of this. We're learning. Ha, there we go. Can I make that bigger though? Yeah, sweet. All right, so yeah, I might just go ahead and get started. I'm going to open this up with Typora. That's what I use for my markdown. And it's going to be hard. I got 3 screens that I use in order to do all of this because it's sort of difficult to be efficient otherwise. So I'll do my best here to show you all everything. But if it gets a little bit too much and it kind of ruins my flow, I'd rather just make sure that I've got a good flow than show absolutely everything because these are going to be important videos to the Quasar ecosystem. All right, so let's open up a console. Why didn't that take over? Weird, I'm already getting weird stuff happening now. All right, zoom in a little bit there. By the way, I'm doing 1080p, so I'm hoping that this is going to come out okay. Let's fully focus on that now and go ahead and get started. So I'm setting into Quasar component series. That's what I've called this. And basically, I'm creating a new project for every single one. So let's take a look at that. And notice that every single thing has its own Quasar project. And so what I will do actually is I'll open that directly in the directory. So we'll go cd Quasar components and carousel is the one we want to do in this video. All right, there we go. And now let's go ahead and run the dev server. Oh, everything's running slow. Hopefully this is going to work okay. I'm not sure my computer's handling the 1080p live streaming along with all of this. But hey, we'll see how it goes. And if it turns out bad, and that's only one video that I've kind of messed up. And it'd be nice to know that I can do streams like this for those that are interested. I might zoom in a little bit more for this video. I've reduced my line spacing, even though I really didn't want to. I figured I should probably just go ahead and do that anyway because a lot of people don't like it. So, hey, if you don't like it, fine. If enough people don't like it, then I'm the one that needs to change here. Okay, so let's go to Q Carousel and just start blasting through this. I might throw this on the left side. I'll do as much of this on one screen as I can as possible. But once again, it's going to be kind of difficult. So let's have to do my best here. All right, so what did I get up to? I wanted to model data, and then I was up to transitions. So let's look for transitions. And the way I'm doing this is I'm mostly going through the examples in the docs. And then once I've gone through the examples, I'm going to go up to the API and check that I have included the stuff I want to include in the API. But I'm not trying to cover absolutely everything here, just like to the best of my ability. Not to the best of my abilities. It's more like we want to keep it relatively succinct. Transitions, I've already showed them how to do transitions, so I'm not sure I want to go that much further. Here, my gosh, this is a lot of markups. I'm definitely gonna have to simplify this. Let's just have a look at what they're doing for the control. That's what I'm mostly interested in here. Okay, so control color. Have I colored that? Covered that? No, we haven't even done control at all. So there's probably something here that, yeah, okay, navigation. So I then want to show that we can do navigation. Arrows, we'll take a look at that. We've got control color as well. That's probably also worth taking a look at. And I'll order this properly in a second. I'm saying whether or not it's swipeable. People will care about that. And also setting a background color. So that's done with a class here. And so how about we do this? We say class, and we'll set a background equal to a background color, maybe indigo. And what else? When I'm showing colors, actually, I like to do the dash just to show people we do have a lot of flexibility over our colors. So I might do like -7 there to make it a fuller example. What else have we got here? So we got text white. That's probably going to be important as well. We're changing the background color. It's not background color, sorry. This is a class. So this is background indigo 7. Then we got text white. Yeah, we'll show people that we can add in a shadow if they want to do it that way. What am I doing in my example though? No, I've already wrapped it in a card, so that would kind of mess with my example. And rounded borders, once again, I've wrapped it in a card. So, okay, I think that'll do for now. So I'm going to do a quick practice for that. And let's have a crack at it and see how it works out. I'm just going to have to throw this in the bottom screen. And running up to, so I've just shown people that they can be animated. I've shown them the transitions. Next will be navigation. So we can also add in navigation. Throw in the word navigation. These cards, these numbers might actually end up hiding things. Let's get rid of that. All right, so navigation doesn't actually seem to be doing anything by default. So let's come back in and take a look here. Navigation. I'll type it in here. And a navigation. Here we go, show navigation dots. So that should be showing up now. I'd say it's because of the color. It's because I set it to a text of white. Yep, they actually are showing up. All right, so let's go back up here. You'll notice that the navigation isn't currently showing here. Okay, so I need to change my notes here. That navigation color has to come directly after navigation. You notice that they're not actually, that's not showing anything. And they have actually appeared, but that's because they're white dots and we can't see them. So we can go ahead and change the navigation. Do we have that? Navigation color? No, color control. We can change the color dash control and set that equal to something like indigo. Nope, that's not working. Color control. Have I spelled that correctly? Believe I have. Let me just copy paste that in there just to check. Oh, weird. Okay, maybe I spelled indigo wrong. Or maybe it's not indigo, it's a different color that we have. What is going on here? Save? No errors in there. Refreshing the page. Okay, let's try changing it to green. Oh, it's not color control, it's control color. Control dash color. Wait. All right, so we can change that there, which is pretty cool. Another thing we can do is add arrows when we've got navigation. And this just adds these right and left arrows. Notice that they are actually taking on the control color that we set here. What else can we do? I might actually add the classes as the next step before I do swipeable. So I'm going to change something in my notes here. After arrows, class, and then swipeable. I'm doing this on the bottom screen, so you can't see it. Cool. All right, so that's arrows. Another thing we can do. Okay, how will I explain this? You might also want to change the background color whilst we're whilst we're dealing with colors, let's have a go at changing the background color. Class is equal to background dash. How about something like indigo? And there we go. That sets the background color. Then we might want to do something like this: text dash white, and then maybe change the control colors to white as well. Cool. So that's looking pretty good. Another thing we can do is make it swipeable. So by default, if I try and swipe left and right here, nothing happens. But if we add the word swipeable, we can now swipe from right to left. And this is particularly useful on a mobile device. Cool. All right. I'm happy with that. I've covered those sections. What else have we got here? This is all just normal carousel stuff, nothing fancy going on there. Vertical. All right, so let's take a look at the code there. Vertical, that's new. So I'm going to add that into my notes down the bottom screen here. What else have we got? Nothing. That's pretty much it. So those are the best things because people go, wow, when they see that you just change one thing and it all changes. We can also add vertical here. And notice that that's going to just put the navigation on the other side there. And now the arrows are at the top and bottom. So it's basically just switch the navigation with the arrows. What else can we do? All right, so that's pretty good. Let's move on to the next thing. It's all vertical. Control type. Okay, so this is where we can actually change the button type of the buttons here. The notion of control here refers to arrows and navigation buttons. So I'll add to my notes here. I'll try and switch this to the top when I write into it. Mention nav is button component. And then I'll go on about how we can basically change these. So let's see the code for doing that. Q-option group. Oh, okay, so that's for the top part here. But the button itself, we can say control type. Is there anything else fancy here? Nope. So let's come in here and then say control dash type. And then we'll try a few out just to show people by saying flat, unelevated, outline, and push. So we'll go through all of them. Sweet. All right, I'm going to throw that in the bottom screen and then try this again. Try this next part. So let's get rid of vertical now and swipeable just to bring us back to a simpler example. There we go. And what else can we do? We can also say control dash type. And now we can set the control type to, okay, I got to mention before that it's a nav button, right? By the way, these are all just plain old Quasar buttons. And we can actually change the type of button that they are by saying control dash type. So let's set that equal to flat. And that's going to flatten these buttons out. I think they might be flat by default, actually. Are they flat by default? Yeah, I don't think that actually changed anything. Let's go outline here to see if that changes something. All right, so let's get rid of flat. That's the first option there. And I'll tell myself to say unelevated, outline, and push. I'll give you a couple of examples. We can say, oh, actually, what about regular? Does that add the shadow? Okay, so regular just makes it a regular button with the shadows back in there. So I'll mention that first, because by default, they are flat. Flat by default. I'm just writing this in my notes here. All right, cool. Let's go ahead with that. So by the way, these are all just plain old Quasar buttons here, meaning that we can come in here and say, for example, control dash type, and by default, this is set to flat. So if I save that, notice that nothing has changed here, but now we can change the type of buttons that we are using. For example, regular. That basically brings it back to a button with a shadow. So you'll notice that we've got a plain old circle with a shadow there. And I might have to change the text color here, maybe text gray-8, something like that, to show this example a bit better. Oh, control text. So say control gray-8. There we go. So those buttons come through a little bit brighter. Another thing we can do is change this to unelevated. And that's just going to make it a flat button. And the other two we can do is outline and push. The push might be kind of cool if you want to get that sort of gamey feel. All right, so we can do that as well. Let's bring us back to a simpler example again. All right, so that's another thing I'll demonstrate. And then we'll move on to navigation position. All right, this looks ridiculously simple. Navigation position, and there's nothing else fancy going on there. So let's add that into the notes. Navigation dash position, and then what are the values we've got here? Top, I'll say top, bottom, left, right. So top, bottom, left, right. Sweet. I'll be able to blast through that really quickly. Let's just quickly practice that. Another thing we can actually do is change the position of this navigation. So at the bottom, at the moment it's at the bottom. So let's say navigation dash position and set it to the top, and it flips to the top. And then of course we've also got left, we've got right, and then we've got bottom. But notice here that when we put it on the right, it is going to clash with those icons, with the arrow icons. So there's probably some work that we'd have to do to get rid of that clash there. So now let's go ahead and put that on the bottom. That's navigation position. All right, what will I teach after that? Custom navigation. Uh, for a full list of properties of the navigation icon slot, please consult the API card. Yeah, okay, so what are they doing here? All right, so we've got a navigation icon slot, and then it takes in these properties. Okay, this is a little bit more complicated. So let's bring in my documentation here. View. All right, so we want to use that slot and then yank those options out of there. I want to simplify this example. It feels a little bit too complicated to me for now. What are we doing in the script here? Oh, at click, on click. Okay, we're yanking out on click. All right, so basically we're mapping that from the slot. What else? Okay, so we're checking if it's active. And that's okay. So basically, we're changing the icon based on whether or not it's active. Okay, cool. That makes sense to me. Let's whack that in there. And then I'm going to play around with this example and see if I can simplify it a bit. That doesn't matter because I'm going to change this anyway. What I might do here, I'm going to just do the slot. I want to do the simplest of examples, and we'll do hashtag navigation dash icon is equal to, and then we can pull out of here whether or not it's active, where the properties for the button, and then the on click event. Let me show you how we can actually go ahead and use those. We can say Q dash button, and let's just bring us back to a really, really basic example here. We'll say at click, on click. All right, so we're basically mapping what we're pulling out of the slot onto the click event for that button. We also want to bind the properties of that button onto here. Another thing we want to do is check whether or not it's active and maybe change the styling based on that. So how about we say this? Class is equal to, how will I demonstrate this? I want something super basic. How do you show if something is active or not? Maybe they could be outlined by default. And if they're not outlined, yeah, I'll do that. So I'll say outline here is equal to whether or not the button is active. If it is not active, but then if it is active, then we'll set it equal to unelevated, something like that. Just have a crack at that and see what it looks like. Refresh the page. All right, that doesn't seem to be working. Navigation dash icon is correct there. Let's just check if the template itself is working by saving that. Oh, it's not even compiling now. All right, let's just not yank these out. All right, so the slot is working. That button is being proxied through. All right, so that side of it is working. It just seems to be the styling here. Checking whether or not outline or unelevated is active. Okay, so let's, how about this? We check active to see if that's working properly. All right, so that is working properly. It just seems like this styling isn't working how I would expect it to. Is that an actual Boolean there? Yeah, I think it is. All right, so what else can I try here? Outline. What if we just do outline like that? Or maybe it's being overwritten by me binding the properties there. Perhaps if I put that underneath, and let's go back to this other example and put that underneath there, refresh the page. No, that hasn't fixed it. So how about we just don't bind the properties and we just take full control over the button here? That might actually be a wise way to go about this. Save it, refresh the page. Yeah, okay. But that means we need to style the whole thing ourselves. But I do want to show that we are actually proxying the button here. So this is probably just a bad example. How about this? We say the icon is equal to, and then we say if it is active, we'll set it to something, otherwise something else. If it's active, we set it to, I don't know, circle. Otherwise, we'll set it to a person. This is just an example, so that should be fine. And then we can say, give me the button props. Two button props. All right, why did that work then? But the other one, no, doesn't matter. Let's just go on. So we'll actually change that to person and then that to circle, save it. And actually, instead of a person, how about we say check? That's probably a better example. Yep, so I don't need that anymore. Cool. All right, I think that's a really good example, so I'm going to copy that. That is the most basic of examples I can think of, at least. And then we'll move on. What else do we want to do? Well, okay, so that's that example we've got covered. Auto padding. Below is an example with which you could play a coaster so you can see the padding or lack of in action. I don't know what they mean by auto padding though. By the way, did I enable those arrows? Yeah, okay, so maybe I can try and show that. Let's put this on the right side. Maybe this will allow me to do some padding related stuff. Okay, so the padding's got to do with this content in here. So what happens when I switch padding off there? What's that actually doing? Okay, so that's setting the padding. So basically, I think this is just showing that you can set the padding. So I'm just going to directly show that. Let's come in here and we'll add some more text in here by making this like a full-on lorem ipsum. I think I've got like a faker tool, faker, lorem, and let's just do a whole paragraph in there. Save it. Yeah, and then I can say, let's do another paragraph. Faker, lorem, paragraphs. Oh, okay, that did not work out. Paragraph. Save that. Cool. All right, so I can basically demonstrate here how it's got a little bit of padding by default if I do that. And then I can basically say, if I put in padding, I can now take full control over the padding by setting that equal to 0 pixels. And now, okay, that actually didn't do anything. So maybe that padding is an extra layer of padding of what we've got on the left there. So how about we set the padding to, I don't know, 80 pixels and see what we get there. All right, that's not doing anything. Let's take a look again at that padding property. Okay, this is just a true or false. So it's saying whether or not there is padding there. All right, that makes more sense. So let's say padding is equal to false. And then we'll jump to that last one. That didn't seem to do anything. So maybe padding true actually does something. All right. So when you say padding true, oh, this is really, really handy because that means now when we add, for example, vertical here, or what was that other example I had here where we had the arrows and then we wanted to throw that on the right side. So I think I want to say, yeah, navigation position right. Is that going to solve that problem? No, it doesn't solve that problem. So you'd have to do something extra in order to fix that. That's all right. Good to know. Basically, it's saying that we can set the padding equal to true or false. So how about we come in here and we're literally just saying padding here. Cool. All right, moving on. What else? Oh, I got to open the comment section so I can see if people comment. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this. Check out quasarcast.com/register. Look at my fancy banner. Look at my amazing computer skills, being able to show and hide things on a live stream. But yeah, check out quasarcast.com/register if you want to see, well, the final product of this video. This is just me working on building the video, and you can come along for the ride. But if you want to see my cleaner, done videos, then check out quasarcast.com/register. And then when new stuff is being released, and if you actually have an account, I'll be able to let you know when the more exciting things, like the really exciting series, come out. You'll be able to jump on it if you've got an account on that site. All right. Moving on. I got to get rid of this banner now. Can't forget that. Cool. So we've added in the fact that you can add padding, which turned out to be way simpler than I thought it was. I totally overthought that. There's nothing fancy going on there. Media content. Okay, people are definitely going to want to know how to do photos. So you can literally put image source on there. Wow, it's that simple. All right, so I will simply come in here and say Q-carousel-slide and image-src. And just to remind myself of that site, it is Pixum. This is the site I use for photos when I'm demonstrating stuff. .photos. Whoops. Slash, and then what will we do? We'll probably do like, I don't know, 800 by 600 is probably a good size for the photo. Right, so throw that down the bottom and I'll quickly practice that. Another thing we can actually do is use images here. So at the moment, we just have text, but if we want to remove that text and do a more interesting example, in fact, I might just come down here and let's select all of these name positions here and add in image URL. And now we can put in a URL for an image, for example, https://pixum.photos/800/600. By the way, I do this all the time when I'm recording. I will pause and think if I need to. I'd rather pause than stumble over my words. So it's very easy to cut out pauses later on. Cool. So now we've got, oh, there we go. I spelled that wrong. IMG image URL. And then come here and actually, no, let's do it in here. Here's the carousel slide. So then we can add image-source. All right, so I'll remember that. This is image source, not image URL. I got to remember that because I want these to match up so I don't confuse people. Source. Right, image-source. There it is there. So the image source can now be equal to whatever our slide object is, dot image source. So let's go ahead and save that, refresh the page, and there we go. Now we get a beautiful image for each slide. And then, of course, in this example, you probably wouldn't have text in there as well, unless you had like a description down the bottom or something like that. So let's remove that just to fix up this example. And there we go. Now we've got this really nice slideshow. And if you look at it, the markdown for this is really quite simple. Why have I got that commented out? Let's get rid of that. The markdown for this is quite simple. We're just iterating over all of the carousel slides, and you could probably get rid of a lot of what's going on here as well. So we could probably get rid of the arrows in this example. We could get rid of the classes. We could get rid of navigated position. Save that. I think we actually get a transition by default when we've got animated set to true. Yeah, and there we go. So now let's just try this with a couple of variations on our image. For this one, let's say 900 by 700. And then maybe this one can be like 1200 by, I don't know, 900. Just so we get different images here. And there we go. How beautiful is that effect? And once they're loaded, we get that really nice fading effect. Cool. What else can we do? All right, so I'm happy with that. That's how I'll teach that. Moving on to multi-image slides. I don't think that's important. I want to keep things basic. Captions for images. Actually, multi-image slides. Is that something we're doing custom here? Yeah, okay. No, that's a little bit too advanced for this sort of like introduction to how it works type thing. And how easy are image captions? What are they doing here? Image source, absolute bottom, and custom caption. I think that's some custom styling. Nah, too much. I'm going to leave that for now. People can go through the docs and figure that out. We just want to introduce things. Video slides. I guess I could show that you can put a Q video in there. All right, so let's jump onto YouTube and just grab the first video that I find. Oh, I blocked it from myself so I don't get distracted. YouTube again. And I'll just click on the first thing I find. How about Arnie lifting some weights? Boom. And so let's see if this is going to be simple to do. And I think I'll be able to say video. Just give that as an example. And we might even call that video URL. Now I can come up here. And I think all they're doing there is literally throwing a Q video directly into the carousel. So if we get rid of image here, and basically just throw a video directly in there like this, Q-video, we can then set the source equal to whatever the video is. In fact, I don't even need to model the data there. I'll just give a really quick example. Oh no, we'll model the data. I wanted them to know how to use it properly in the real world. All right, so let's go ahead and so then you say slide object dot video URL. Save it. And that is not working. What else are they doing here? Okay, I need the embed URL. So youtube.com/embed and then the ID of it. youtube.com instead of /watch, we'll change that to /embed and then / the video URL. And that's not full width. So what's going on there? It's probably because of like some extra styling that I've got going on here. What are they doing? Just an absolute full on this. Let's say class is equal to absolute full. Yep, cool. So I've got to remember that I need to add that in as well. So I'll take that snippet. That's all I actually need in order to show how to do videos. So let's throw this up here. And then I'll come down here and say, I'm just going to literally whack it in there. This is going to make sense to me. Cool. All right. So I'm all prepared to do the video side of things. What else? We might even be reaching the end now. Thumbnails. Holy crap. That's awesome. Wow. How do I do that? Oh my gosh. You literally just had thumbnails. That's really cool. However, how about we do that at this point? I don't see why I would not. So then we'll just quickly add in thumbnails there. And I'm just going to Control Z and just check that this example is going to work. I think that's it. Oh yeah, I had to change those as well. All right, there we go. Back to the image example. So we'll come back in here now. That's working. And I think I just need to come here and say thumbnails, save it. What's going to happen now? It might not work because I'm overriding it here. So let's get rid of that. By the way, did I copy that carousel slide logic? Yeah, I got it there. Doesn't matter. Did I spell that right? Thumbnails. And we got the image source. So let's have a look at what else I'm missing here then. Thumbnails. Yeah, weird. Maybe there's some weird caching going on. So let's just copy that, close that, and then whack it back in again. No, that's not working either. Might have something to do with the fact that I've got navigation set. Yeah, they don't have navigation set. So I probably have to get rid of navigation. It might be overriding it there. There we go. So I'll also point out when I'm doing that, because I ran into that problem then, they probably will as well. Remove navigation. Sweet. Okay, we're almost ready to start recording, I think. Oh, it says right down there. Look at that. Do not use the property node goes to the phone as the first precision. Yep, cool. Infinite and autoplay. This should be pretty straightforward. Autoplay is modeling something. What's autoplay modeling? Oh, okay. We're just going to set that to true. So let's add in autoplay and then infinite. We might do infinite first because I think infinite will lead in to autoplay really nicely. Really, I think I want to teach these a little bit earlier on, honestly. I don't know. Let's see how it works for now. So if I come in here, if we say infinite here, notice that when I go to, oh no, then we need to add arrows. And we'll add those arrows back in again. Notice that when I get to the last slide, I still have this right arrow and it just takes me back to the first one. So that's good to know. Another thing we can do is say auto play, and it's automatically going to play through. It's automatically going to move on to the next slide, and we can say how many milliseconds to wait. So let's set that to 3000, which basically means 3 seconds. Save it, refresh the page. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and there we go. It's automatically going to go to the next slide. And this is obviously particularly useful with infinite because it means when we do get to that last slide, it's going to go back to the start. All right, cool. I know how to teach that now. Moving on to the next thing. All right, so these are advanced controls. I don't think I'll go that deep. Scroll area. No, once again, this is going a little bit too deep for a beginner series for me. And honestly, there's probably some things that I'll call, which I'll probably have a look at in the end. Might mention full screen though. How have they done that? Oh, okay, but I probably do want to show carousel control. I might finish on carousel control and then full screen. So another thing we can do is actually take control. Oh, I might have to give myself some notes first. Q dash carousel dash control. All right, so let's have a crack at that. Let's get rid of that, otherwise it's going to be annoying for us. Another thing we can do is take total control over these controls here. I'll show you what I mean. Let's remove thumbnails. And I'll come down here and create a template for our controls. And that is, what is it? What is that slot? Literally control. Well, add that to my notes. Hashtag control. Are they yanking anything out of there? No, but it's got a position and it's got an offset. So I'll quickly point that out first. Position and then offset. Cool. So let's have a look at moving these controls around. If we say here, I got ahead of myself. So let's come in here and we'll say control. Okay, sorry, I'm just fixing up my notes behind the scenes here. I've done things out of order. So now we can come in here and say control to note up into these controls here. And let's just throw in a button just to check that that is actually working. And it's not. Oh, we'll give it a label of control. Press the page. No. Could have sworn this is what it was. All right, let's go back again. Okay, they want a QCarousel control directly in there. All right. So let's add in now a Q-carousel-control, and then we'll add a Q button directly in there. So let's save it and see how that works. And there we go. Notice right away we get this button. And just to make it a little bit more obvious, I'm going to change the color of it equal to white. Nice. So another thing we can do now is change the position of this control. If we say, and now I can put in the examples of this position, let's say bottom dash center. Is that going to work? Is that what they mean by that? No. We can come back to the API to check that out. Yeah, okay, so let's say bottom, which will probably make it centered. We'll try. Can't click on here anymore. Oh, bugger. My computer's struggling a little bit with this stream. Oh no, things are freezing up. Oh, there we go. It's working again. Okay, so we can come down here and say bottom, top, and then let's just go do bottom left as well. Cool. So we've got different positions here, like bottom. That's not centered. How do I center it at the bottom? Can I say here, class is equal to text dash center? Yes. So I'll probably have to show that. Do they have an example with this? Where the controls are centered and they're manually done? Yeah, it looks like they do here. So let's come down and find that. And I'll use that as a starting point. Carousel slide. Oh no, they've just updated the buttons here manually. All right. That's fine. Probably just add that in myself and show them that you can do that because I think people will want to know. Just adding my notes down the bottom here. We can set that to bottom, but just, okay. But just know if you want it to be centered as well, you're then going to have to add a class, like class is equal to text dash center. Another thing we can do, if I get rid of that, is put it on the top. We can also put it on the bottom left. We have total control over the position of the carousel controls. What else can we do? We can also change the offset. So let's set the offset equal to 50 by 50. That's going to have to be an array. Save that. And it's just going to change the offset a little bit there. So that's also nice to know. And now, if you wanted, you could basically tap into the logic here in order to change your slide. But we won't show that in this video because it kind of goes beyond the scope of what I wanted to show you here. All right, that should be fine. And I believe that's all I want to teach. Yeah, okay, that's it. So now let's go through the docs and check that I've covered all the stuff that I think is worth covering. Padding, done. Arrows, navigation, navigation position, yes. Navigation icon and navigation active icon. That I did not cover. I'm pretty sure. Just scrolling through my notes here. I'll put that in the top screen so you can see. Let's just search for icon. No, I haven't. So let's go ahead and throw in a place for that. So how about here? Navigation dash icon, maybe a bit further down. Let's wait till we've changed the control color. And then we can say navigation active icon. Bit worried I might be going overboard here, but that's okay. Let's come back here. Full screen, I have not covered, so I might just quickly cover that at the end. Full screen. Another thing we can do is toggle full screen on and off. So how about we come in here and we say at click is equal to full screen, and we'll set that to the opposite of what full screen currently is. And I'll make sure I spell this correctly. Full screen. Cool. So I'm going to copy that, come down here, and we've got ref. So let's make a reference full screen. By default, we'll set that to false. Now we'll expose that by returning it here, save it, and let's see what happens when we click this button. Nothing at all. Okay, we need to make sure that it is equal to the opposite of what it currently is. I have to refresh it, which you often have to do with slots. Oh, and the other thing I need to do, of course, is model it up here. So let's model it on the carousel. Full screen is equal to whatever full screen is. Make sure that's interpreted. And there we go. Now if I click on this button, I get full screen. And then when I click on this button, it goes back to normal. There we go. So that's good to know. And then another thing that we could do is change the icon of this button to something like full screen. Nope, that is not the icon for full screen. So let's say material design icons. Wrong link. Material design icons. I think this is it. And then we want full screen. Maybe like expand. Or maybe the word large. Or grow even. Grow. Can't find it. Let's try. How about? Oh, here it is. Full screen. It's exactly what I wrote. Full screen. Maybe it's got to do with the color. All right, so let's come back here and change the color here. I bet you that is the problem. There we go. And now we've got that full screen button. Cool. So I'll quickly just tell them that at the end, and then we'll call this unelevated. And we'll make it. No, what have we got? I think we've got dense here. We might make it dense. Unelevated. Just I kind of want the background color. So let's now set the color equal to white. And then we'll say, can I say text color? Yeah, and we'll set that equal to gray -8 or something like that. Cool, I think that looks really good. So when I'm talking about full screen, I'll make sure that I have that snippet handy. Cool. I can keep going through the documentation now just to make sure I'm covering everything. Full screen covered. Not important for this video. No, this is all more advanced stuff. Animated, yes. That's all been done. Autoplay done. Yes. Okay, let's go to content. Yes. Previous and next icons. I have not done that, and I think that is probably worth covering. And that's probably somewhere around navigation. So let's say prev-icon and then next-icon. And I want to actually have some icons prepared for this. So let's go back to here. And I guess we've got arrow_forward might be a good one to play around with, and arrow_back. Yeah, let's try that. So whack that back over there. And whack that over there. And give that a go by saying next-icon. Oh, wrong place. Next-icon is equal to arrow_forward. And then, of course, previous as well. Previous icon, arrow_backward. Backwards. That's probably just back. Yep, cool. So arrow_forward, arrow_back. Put that in here. Arrow_back. And then the next is arrow_forward. Cool. All right, so that's done. We can now show off those icons as well. What else have we got? Next, navigation position. We've done navigation icon, active icon, thumbnails. We've done all that. Model value. Yeah, that's just modeling it. Style, dark, height, control color. Color name for the text color. Cursor button arrow. Oh, okay. That's just kind of a specific. I don't think that really matters so much. So let's move on. Slots. We've covered controls. We covered navigation icon. Events before transition. This stuff isn't that important to cover, I think. And I don't think that stuff is that important to cover as well. All right, so I might just leave it at that. Okay, so I'm going to stop, take a little bit of a break, and then I'll come back here and actually record this. So I'll probably do a live stream for that, for those of you interested of me actually recording the QCarousel video. So that'll be fun. Thank you for joining me along in this on this journey. and I'll see you in a future stream. Oh, by the way, I've got to mention this. Man, my arrow's lagging a little bit here. Of course, I got to mention, check out quasarcast.com/register if you are interested in this kind of thing. I'll give you a quick look at what I'm up to with the site because there are some other things that I want to sort of fix up here. Quasarcast.com. I'll just go to quasarcast.com. The one thing I want to do is make it so somebody said they'd like to see what my latest videos are. So I'm going to make it so I've got like a latest videos section or maybe a way that you can order the courses. I'll probably just have a separate page for it, maybe. I haven't even figured out what that'll look like. So that's the next thing I want to do on the site. Also, I don't think this layout looks particularly good on a mobile device. I'll show you what I mean. On a mobile device, this kind of takes over and clicking outside of, oh, hang on, let me do that again. Let's bring this up. Yeah, it's kind of messed up because clicking outside of here doesn't close that side panel. You have to click there, which is really not obvious at all. So a bad experience on mobile, and then people can't play the video properly. And when you change courses, it actually hides it. So I didn't think that would be a problem, but it is because when you first go into this, this is showing, and you're like, what do I do? How do I hide that? And you can hide it by clicking on here, but that's not obvious to people. So I need to fix that as well. But yeah, this is being actively worked on. So check out quasarcast.com/register, especially if you want to get started, because this getting started guide, I think I'm particularly proud of. You get to build a to-do app. I've even got an API freely available on the web that you can use in order to build out that to-do app. Super cool stuff. I've really enjoyed building these videos. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this live stream as much as I enjoyed making it for you. And I will see you in a future stream. Thanks for watching.